Welcome to our practical lesson on multi-containers application. In this lesson, we are going to set up a multi-container application from scratch. Our application will consist of a simple web service and a Redis database. This setup will help us understand the fundamentals of Docker Compose, including service definition, networking, and volumes. Let's start by creating our Docker Compose YAML file. So I will type touch docker compose.yaml. As we mentioned, the Docker Compose YAML file is the heart of our Docker Compose application. It's where we define our services, networks, and volumes. Let's edit this file using Visual Studio Code. First, we define the version of the Docker Compose file format we are using. So let's type version, two dots, then single quotations, and 3.8. This version supports most of the modern Docker features we will need. Now let's define our service. So let's type here services. Now let's define our first service, which will be the web service. Our web service will use a simple image we will build together. So for now, just type image, then the image name example/web-app, and the tag is latest. Now to the ports, because I want to export the ports for the web service container, and I will map port 5000 to port 5000. Then the web service depends on the second service we will create, which is the Redis service. This configuration tells Docker Compose to pull the example/web-app latest image, map port 5000 on the host to port 5000 in the container, and start this service only after the Redis service is up. Now let's define our second service, but before defining the Redis service, let's fix the indentation here. So the image should be here and the ports also here. Let's fix this, and that depends on under ports. And now we are ready to create or to define our second service. Our second service is Redis, and we will pull the image for this service from Redis two dots Alpine. So this is a simple service definition telling Docker Compose to pull the Redis Alpine image and run it as our Redis service. Before we bring up our application using the Docker Compose, let's build the image example/web-app with the tag latest. So for building this image, I have here the Docker file for the image, which use the Python image 3.8, and the work directory is app, and it will copy all files from the current directory to /app. Then it will install all pip packages inside the requirements.txt, and it will expose the port 5000. Then it will define environment variable, and finally it will execute the Python app.py. So let's go to the app.py. So this is a simple Python code I have developed to demonstrate this lesson. So this simple code uses the Flask framework, and it connected to Redis service in our Docker Compose we developed together, and it will increment the visit count stored in the Redis. So whenever you visit this web application, you will find this message, hello world, this page has been visited. And if it is your first visit, you will see here number 1. And every time you refresh the page, the count here will be increased. Also, we have the requirements, which has all the Python modules needed for this application. Now we are ready to build our application image. So let's execute docker build -t, then the name of the image we want to build, which is example/web-app latest, then dot. Now press enter. As you see from the output, our image has been created successfully. Now let's bring our application to life. So let's execute docker compose up -d. And as you see from the output, the container multi-container Redis 1 started, and also container multi-container web 1 started. Let's verify our work. So I will do docker ps, and as you can see from the output, the multi-container Redis 1 created 20 seconds ago, and it's up 19 seconds ago. The same for the multi-container web 1, which created 20 seconds ago and up 19 seconds ago. And also, as you can see, we mapped the port 5000 on my local host to port 5000 inside the container. You can also verify that your services are running correctly by executing docker compose ps. And from the output, you can see that the service Redis and web with the status up, which means they are running correctly. Now I can say congratulations, you have successfully set up a multi-container application with Docker Compose. To test our web application, let's open our web browser and navigate to localhost 5000. Now press enter. As you can see, hello world, this page has been visited one time. Let's refresh the page and you will see the number here or the count here increase. Let's refresh it one more time and it's now 3. So right now we verified that our web app communicating successfully with the Redis service. Let's go back to the terminal, and to clean up our work, I will execute docker compose down. As we mentioned in our previous lesson, this command stops and removes the containers, networks, and the volumes we have created during this lesson. And as you see from the output, docker compose down removed the web container and the Redis container, and it also removes the network multi-container underscore default. And that's it. You have learned how to define, run, and manage multi-container Docker applications using Docker Compose. Experiment with adding more services or changing the existing configuration to deepen your understanding. Happy Dockerizing!